Hey guys, my name's Ben and today I'm wrenching on my 94 Chevy K1500. In this video I'm going to show how to remove and reinstall the drive shaft as well as replace the seal on the back of the transfer case. So it's the output shaft seal. So let's get started. Underneath the truck we're going to remove these 4 bolts on the back of the drive shaft. They're 7/16 bolts. And we're going to remove that seal. Here's everything we're going to need. We've got 11mm wrenches for the bolts on the back of the drive shaft, a seal puller to get out the seal. This is the new seal. There's the GM part number 15661460. So that's the seal that we're going to put in the front of the drive shaft. And we're going to need a 30mm socket to open the fill plug on the transfer case since we're going to leak a little bit of fluid. And I've got some transmission fluid, that's what the transfer case has, and some brake cleaner to clean up when we're done, and a pump to pump the transmission fluid into the transfer case. But that's really all we're going to need, maybe some PB blaster if your bolts are rusty. So let's get to it. I'm going to start by removing these 4 bolts. I've got 11mm wrenches. These are 7/16 bolts, but 11mm is pretty close. We're going to pull the drive shaft out of the front and replace that seal, and we're going to leak transmission fluid when we do it, so we're going to make sure we can loosen our fill plug. The fill plug is a 30mm. That is loose, so we're good to go ahead and pull out the drive shaft. When we pull the drive shaft out of the transfer case, we're going to leak transmission fluid, so you want to put a catch pan underneath that. And we're going to put our wrench in the back of the drive shaft and get it loose from the yoke. Alright, so I'm resting the drive shaft on top of the yoke, and now we're ready to take the drive shaft out of the transfer case. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull the drive shaft backward. And we'll let that drain. So there's the seal we're going to replace. If yours has fluid on the outside of the transfer case like that, like mine does, it's a good indication the seal's ready to be changed. And since I'm changing out the drive shaft anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Alright, we got the drive shaft out. The reason I'm changing my drive shaft, my original one, I tried to get the U-bolts out and busted this tang right here. So I needed to get a new one. I got this one off eBay and it was the wrong size. You can see here it's just a bit shorter than the old one. The old one, the right part number is Dorman 946050. So I got the wrong one. I got the new one coming today. I'm going to get it put in. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and change that front seal. I already did the back seal. It's in a different video. So between the two, you can basically do everything. I'm going to try using a seal puller to get this out. I haven't had much luck with this. I didn't have any luck with it on the pinion seal on the back, but I'm going to try it on this one too. I'll link this part in the description. I'm going to try to get a small flat blade screwdriver behind the back of this seal just so I can punch it out. Now that I've got a space in there, I can get this bigger screwdriver in and hopefully use this to pry it out. There we go, now it's starting to come out. So I've got a pretty big hole punched in here. I can fit this screwdriver through the seal. So I'm really just trying to pry it out without ripping it any more than I already did. There we go. Now it's coming out. All right, there we go. I'm just going to clean this up a bit. So there's the output shaft without the seal. The splines on there look pretty good, so that's not concerning. And the inside lip here looks okay. It's got a little bit of red, probably RTV or some kind of sealant in there. So I would try to scrape as much of that out as you can. I'm probably not going to mess with it. I'm just going to put the new seal in and hope that it's good. So there's my old seal. It's an aftermarket seal, and the reason I know that is it's got that rubber boot on the outside, and from what I understand, the original seals did not have that extra rubber boot sticking out. So it looks like someone's already done this before, which is good. But I'm going to go ahead and do it while I got the drive shaft out and I've got the new part. So before you put the new seal in, you want to make sure that it slides over the drive shaft and make sure it fits. I've heard that sometimes the shaft on these may not fit just right, so you just want to double check that before you put the seal in, because if it doesn't fit, then you'll get the seal on, try to put the drive shaft in, and it won't go in. So double check that first. I'm also going to grease this seal with some grease so it'll install easier. All right, there we go. So now we're ready to put the new seal in. All right, so I've got the weep hole on the bottom, and I'm just going to push it in by hand as much as I can. Get it seated okay, and I'm going to use a roll of tape to seat it in properly. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I don't see any gaps. So I think that's good. We've got the seal in, and we're ready to put the drive shaft back in. Here is the correct part number for the drive shaft. It's Dorman 946050. Here's a quick look at the new drive shaft compared to the old one. So this one is actually a lot better as far as end to end. The size looks about perfect. So I'm happy with this one. I'm glad I did this. So I'm gonna get the new one in there and we'll fill up the transfer case and we'll be all set. I've got it sitting in there, but I can't push it all the way back. I need to turn the yoke just a little bit, so I'm going to lift the truck, put it in neutral, and then I'll be able to turn that yoke. Alright, so now that I've got it in neutral, this yoke will turn, so I can turn it and get the U-joints lined up right. Alright, with those lined up, I'm going to see if I can get these straps in here and hopefully that will tighten it down where it needs to be. So I've tried 2 sets of strap bolts and neither of them's the right size. Amazon said these would fit. It's the Moog 53010. Those don't fit. It also said the Dorman 81001 would fit. Those also didn't fit. I got 2 sets thinking at least one of them will fit and neither of them did. So I stole the bolts from one of them. I'm going to use my old straps with some new bolts because that's the best I can do right now, but I wanted to let you know neither of those is the right size. The holes are too far apart and they will not fit in. Since I can't get the U-joints to sit back where they need to, I'm just going to put these straps in and see if I can push them back as I tighten this. I lost some footage, but I did get those bolts tightened down. Those U-joints did not fit in great, so what I had to do was tighten those straps down until they got wedged into where they're supposed to go. So I did get the drive shaft installed. The front of this one looks way better than the old one, so I'm happy with that. I think it looks great. Here's the one problem I have. So those U-joints do not butt up against the tabs on either side. There's the other side, it's even worse. So for some reason, the new U-joints are incorrect, which is odd because the drive shaft that didn't fit, the U-joints fit perfectly. I mean, those butted right up against these tabs, fit in there perfectly. This one did not fit. I had to use the straps to clamp it down all the way to get that to cinch in there right. And they're too short. They're not long enough this way. So luckily I have a set of U-joints that I originally purchased thinking I was going to just change out U-joints and didn't know that I would have to do the whole drive shaft. So I think what I'm going to do is replace this U-joint. I think I'll go ahead and do a separate video on taking out the U-joint since I'm going to have to take the drive shaft back out. So I'm going to end this one here. We did get the transfer case seal changed out. We got the new drive shaft in. It looks really good. The size looks great. And I just got to change out that back U-joint and I'm done. So appreciate you guys watching. Check out my other videos. I've got the video for changing the pinion seal in the drive shaft. That one has the incorrect drive shaft in that video. So with this one, I just wanted to change out that transfer case seal. And yeah, so check out the next video, and thanks for watching.